Assemble Best Shalom. It's good to be back with you for Torah study this week, or Parashat Shavua, if you will. We are starting the new book of Deuteronomy, Devarim. We are chapter 1 through 322. And the reason why this book is called Devarim is because at the beginning, the book starts out, Ele HaDevarim Asher, Diber Moshe El Kol Yisrael. Be'ever hayarden bamidbar, be'arava mol suf, bein paran uvein tofel, ulevan velevan v'chatzerot v'di zahav. These are the words that Moses addressed to all Israel on the other side of the Jordan, through the wilderness in the Arava near Suf, between Paran and Tofel, Levan, Haserot, and Di Zahav. This is the beginning of a sequence of speeches in which Moses basically recounts to the children of Israel on the precipice of the Promised Land everything that happened in the previous books, from Exodus through Numbers. And this prologue here, or the prologue to Deuteronomy, begins with chapter 1:1, and it really is it's going to prepare the Israelites to once again hear the instructions and the laws that were given to the people previously in the other in the books before. The setting begins chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. It provides you the place, the time, and the context of recent events. It reveals little of the thrust and fervor of the later chapters of Deuteronomy. It's sort of a matter of fact, here's where we are, and so on and so forth. Then you get to verse 6 through 45 of chapter 1, and Moses recounts to the Israelites the entire history of the Torah since the Exodus through the whole 40 years in the wilderness. So we hear about leaving the Sinai wilderness. We hear about the leadership and judicial structure that's set up. We hear about the generation that was condemned to die in the book of Exodus. We hear about Moses taking on certain responsibilities for the people. And then we get to the second review, which is chapter 1, verse 46 through chapter 322. And this jumps ahead 38 years, and Moses continues with a very long recitation. He recounts how after they stayed at Kadesh, the Israelites struck camp and began to skirt Canaan on its east. They moved through the different territories, going towards the Promised Land. The purpose of this is Moses is laying a clear view of the fate of the Israelites, and that tightly is connected to the fate of God. And so it begins with this, like I said, setting the setting. Here we are on the in the wilderness, in the Arava, and so on and so forth. We are now 11 days from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea, and this is beginning Moses trying to, his one last stance, his one last hurrah, to get the people to really understand the significance of following the laws and being blessed, as opposed to not following the laws and then being cursed. We hear the recounting of the people arguing and screaming and fighting, and God punishing them. We hear about the generations that didn't, fighters that didn't make it into the Promised Land because they argued against Moses, and the Parsha of Deuteronomy ends with the following. Excuse me, not Deuteronomy, Devarim, the first Torah portion in the book of Deuteronomy, ends with the following. Ve'et Yehoshua tziveti be'et hahi lemor. Enecha haroot et kol asher asa Adonai Elohechem lishnei hamalachim ha'ele kein ya'aseh Adonai lechol hamamalachot asher ata uver shama, lo tira ki Adonai Elohechem hu hanilcham lachem. I also charged Joshua at that time, saying, you have seen with your own eyes all that the Eternal your God has done to these two kings. We're talking about the kings that were defeated. So shall the Eternal do to all the kingdoms in which you shall cross over. Do not fear them, for it is the Eternal your God who will battle for you. And that's, in essence, the entire book, the entire first part of the book of Devarim, is Moses recounting what happened and reminding them as to why they are to be following God's commandments and being blessed. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and a Shabbat Shalom.